Howdy, folks. Welcome to the channel, Rockin' the Country. I'm Don. Happy New Year. This is maybe the third reaction I've done in the new year, and we're off to a wonderful start. I've got a gift request from George Woodruff, GW, who made a gift, several gifts for me to do this hour-long documentary of George Jones's life. So I refer to George Woodruff as GW, just so that there's no confusion on who I'm referring to, and because it is the possum. But this is part 3. We've seen the first 2 parts, and it's fascinating. We're picking up here where George was talking about his relationship with Tammy and why they got divorced. He said that he didn't think she took the time to understand him. Now, I don't know if that's a defense mechanism that kicked in or if it's true, because it's certainly possible. They had very busy lives, and not everybody's as interested in the other as might be beneficial. Anyway, GW, thank you, my friend, for this. I love this. I have a documentary series playlist, and this is going in it. And it's populated with some fantastic stuff on country artists.
Her feelings towards her at all, I don't think she tried to understand me and help me to understand her and the things going on about us. I think she took the quick way out.
Tammy said one thing's for certain, I don't love you anymore. I throw down the ring as she walked out my door.
George finds himself alone again and remembering times that, despite the fireworks, he would later describe as some of the happiest in his life.
I've got the urge to tell the world about her.
There had always been a self-destructive element in George. In the next few years, he would give new meaning to the phrase down and out.
Well, I drank to start with quite a bit more, a lot more than I should have, and then when it seemed like everything in the world was down on me, that's when I just didn't care anymore.
Me and Jesus got our own thing going. Me and Jesus got it all worked out. Me and Jesus got our own thing going. We don't need anybody to tell us what it's all about.
George said, Tom, T, let's go out to Las Vegas. And I said, I can't, I'm on tour out here, I got a whole van and a whole bus out here. He said, yeah, well, that'll be you when you get back. Let's go out to Las Vegas and gamble a little bit. So I said, I can't go, I'd really like to go. But I kind of got the notion that George was getting to feel adventurous, or a little bit, he'd been calm and quiet for a little too long. So I talked my way out of that. I didn't go to Las Vegas. And so I got back to Nashville a few days later and picked up the newspaper, and George had been to Las Vegas. And for some weird reason or another, he wound up in New Orleans kicking the windows out of a hospital. So I got to reading the paper, and I said, I'm kind of glad I didn't make that trip.
Where does it go? The good Lord only knows. Seemed like it was just the other day. I was down in Green Gables, hogging them tables, generally blowing all of my hard-earned pay. Piney Road blues, I danced toes in the shoes. There weren't another way to be. For them lovable losers and no-account bruisers and honky-tonk heroes like me.
George come to my house one time, and I was hiring a kite, but George was drunker than I was high. And he went crazy. And I'm trying, he kicked me and he swung at me, and he threw things at me, and I'm trying to settle him down. And I can't do it. So I took him down and held him down. But you know what? George ain't very big, but his stuff was lasting better than mine, because I got to getting tired, so I had to tie him up.
Heroes like me.
laugh about it now, you know. That's about all we can do, you know. It's nothing we can be proud of or anything like that, you know. The ones who can be proud are the ones who never fell into that trap.
And it reminds me of that line of Mark Twain's where he said it's easier to stay out than to get out. So just don't get started in something, and then you're it's just that simple. Once you do something once or twice, if you kind of like it or it's an adrenaline rush, it's like, come on, let's do it again. Let's do it again. So it's a whole lot easier to stay out and just say no. Like Tom T. Hall said, I didn't go with him to Vegas. I had all this other responsibility. It's just a whole lot easier not to go down that path.
All you got to do is think about, down through the years, how George has abused himself. He was almost set on self-destruct.
We drank together. We took pills together. We got in trouble together. We suffered a lot of pain together, but we had what we thought were some great times together.
And I think a lot of what us old country boys have done down through the years is basically we were trying to have a good time. Yeah. And then suddenly it dawns on you that, you know, you're not really having that much fun.
And in spite of all the things that he has done to destroy himself, and would have destroyed 99% of the other people in this business that I know, he can still stroll out on the stage, strap on that guitar and start singing and knock you right out of your seat.
Now I'm just a bartender. I don't like my work, but I don't mind the money at all. I see lots of sad faces and lots of bad cases of folks with their backs to the wall. I need 4 walls around me to hold my life and keep me from going, oh Lord, astray. I need a honky to hold me tight. She'll help keep me from slipping away. I can lie.
All George wanted to do is sing songs. And that's all. It was a very simple lifestyle, and he could not understand the hoopla and the success he was having. I mean, it's sort of a love-hate situation when you go through that, because every time George would get in trouble, all I know is we would sell more product. And we were 1 million albums before we knew it.
Bartender's Blues, written by pop star James Taylor, brings George's music into the sphere of a whole new audience. Artists as diverse as Ray Charles, Andy Warhol, Linda Ronstadt, and Bonnie Raitt drop backstage to pay their respects.
A rock and roll singer pretty well summed it up. I was with Nick Lowe and Elvis Costello in the recording studio. And I was playing a demo by George Jones, and Elvis Costello and Nick Lowe were sitting there with tears in their eyes. They were drinking a little bit, but Elvis Costello held that bottle up, said the greatest country singer in the history of the world, George Jones. I said, you're right.
He was sitting in my office at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we had this huge event planned in New York at the Bottom Line. It was George Jones and country music comes to New York. That's the way it was built. And it was really a big event in New York. A lot of top press was going to be there. As I recall, most of the cast, I think, from Saturday Night Live was going to be there. It was a great media event, and certainly an event for country music in New York. And we made our plans, the travel arrangements and so forth.
Jesus.
George excused himself from my office, left, and we didn't see him for 3 weeks. He just did not show up. And that was the first in a series, and we ultimately dubbed him No-Show Jones.
George's life is in turmoil, both emotionally and financially. missed concert dates turn into entire canceled tours, and lawsuits from promoters pile up. He frequently disappears for days on end, and then suddenly turns up at some out-of-the-way roadhouse or honky-tonk to perform for the people who had always been closest to his heart. George was running from the star system that threatened to swallow him up. The race was on, and George was falling back fast.
Me tight and keep me from slipping.
Wow.
I mean, it's the damnedest project I've ever worked on. We're dealing with all this negative press. Promoters were down on him. Radio was down on him. Everybody hated him except his fans.
Well, we put in an incredible amount of hours in the studio. And like some of those songs, one verse would be a year away from a chorus because he would come in and his voice wouldn't be up to it, so he'd get a few lines. And like in He Stopped Loving Her Today, the recitation was done 18 months after the first verse was.
This was back during those bad days, and I carried that song about almost a year.
Took forever for him to. He sang it to the tune of a Christopherson hit.
Take the ribbons from your hair. He stopped loving her today. Da 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 da.
I said, that's not the melody. He said, yeah, but it's a better melody. I said, it might be. Christopherson would think so too. It's his melody. And so finally, he learned a different melody, and we did it.
So often, somebody will take your song and it'll come. It comes back to you not quite what you had in mind when you wrote it. It's not. Maybe it's not as good. Maybe the way the artist interpreted it. But you get a George Jones singing your song. It's just
wow.
It's just like he kind of. It's like having somebody breathe life into your song.
Good God, man.
He kept her pictures on his wall. Went half crazy now and then. Oh, but he still loved her through it all, hoping she'd come back again. They found love letters by his bed,
1962.
dated 1962. But he had underlined in red every single I love you. I went to see my friend today. Oh, but I didn't see no tears. All dressed up to go away. First time I'd seen him smile in years. He stopped loving her today. They placed a roof upon his door. Soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her.
Mesmerizing every time.
You know, she came to see him her last time. Oh, and we all wondered if she would. And it kept running through my mind. Well, this time, he's over her for good. He stopped loving her today. They placed a roof upon his door. Soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her today.
I'm going to leave it there. Man, it's tough. I may back it up to get context for what he's about to say. Yeah, I see things like this, and should I, for me, it's like I want to comment on the song and the structure and the lyrics and all that stuff. I mean, I will say one thing about He Stopped Loving Her Today is that when you read a title like that, you see the title, you have no idea the depth that's about to hit you when you listen to that song. It does it to me every time, and I know the song. But for even reactors who might be hearing it for the first time or what have you, or just anybody who hears it, you see the title, He Stopped Loving Her Today. All right, they had a fight, blah, blah, blah. They're getting divorced or whatever. I don't know. And then you find out the context. But George can do things with his voice. And it's like, what makes Michael Jordan so much better than others? Other athletes have his athletic ability. I mean, granted, there aren't many, but so much of it, there's just some other gear, something that he has in that arena, in that specific realm of life, basketball for him, that makes him that much better. And George Jones has that. And so you study, you analyze, you dissect. Is it his voice, how he could, kind of go deep and then go nasally and gentle? Is it that he could talk? There's just something about his voice that makes you want to hear it when he's talking, not just when he's singing. Who can explain that? I can try. I certainly do as a philosopher, as a socially oriented person. It's just one of these things that's a gift to me because I can't capture it. I can't run out of ways of describing George Jones because I'll sort of dissect him against the backdrop of a song. And that gives me a whole different set of, I don't know, information. But then I go to the next song, and it's not just the song, it's the way George is in it and the overlay of the song that sort of provides a canopy around him. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, that's part 3. Courtesy of GW, George Woodruff. And we're going to go from there. I'll see you on part 4. I'll see you on some other things in the meantime. All right, folks, have a wonderful day. I'll see you on another video and keep rocking the country.
I got back to Nashville a few days later and picked up the newspaper, and George had been to Las Vegas. And for some weird reason or another, he wound up in New Orleans kicking the windows out of a hospital. So that's...